Welcome back to Ireland AM. Now, the Assisted Human Reproductive Bill, intended to provide legislation for surrogacy and other assisted methods of conception, was signed into law in 2024. However, since then, there has been no movement on bringing the bill into action.
Joining us now to discuss this delay and how the bill may need future amendments are Cathy Wheatley from Irish Families Through Surrogacy and Ranae von Medding from Equality for Children. You're both very welcome to the show this morning. Cathy, it's been a long road, hasn't it, to say the least. Where are we at with the Human Reproduction Bill, Assisted Human Reproduction Bill? What is it and what should it, in fact, be doing for families in need?
So basically, the Assisted Human Reproduction Bill is to cover anybody who needs assistance in creating their family. So IVF, surrogacy, all of that. So to make sure that everything's regulated, that the clinics are on board and that everybody is on the same page, basically. It's badly needed. It's been a long road now to get to where we are. It was signed in to legislation by the President on the 3rd of July. And as of yet, it's not been commenced. It's very difficult when you have so many promises being made. In the Fine Gael's election manifesto, it said that they are committed to commencing it within the first 100 days. The first 100 days will be on the 3rd of May. And it's radio silence from them. We haven't heard anything. The next bill then, which was supposed to... because this bill, as much as it's fantastic and when it's legislation and working, it still doesn't cover everybody, and it doesn't... it needs a lot more work.
Yeah, so you may explain to us, it's a complicated piece of legislation. Who does it actually cover and not cover?
Yeah, so that's really complicated, isn't it, Ranae?
Could be a whole year, I'd say, for that.
I think,
that
just to keep it simple, it legislates for the first time, it legislates for surrogacy and international surrogacy, which we don't have at the moment in the country. So that's the largest group of people that it legislates for. Now, it doesn't cover all surrogacy journeys. It's very specific and prescriptive in who it covers. It also covers some same-sex female couples who have been left out of previous legislation, but it doesn't cover everybody. Just to give you an example, once this legislation is commenced, it will cover Cathy's family, it will not cover mine.
Why is that? In what way?
So my wife and I have 3 children who we conceived through reciprocal IVF. We used her eggs, donor sperm, and I carried all 3 pregnancies. Our first 2 daughters, when they were born, I was their only legal parent. My wife was a legal stranger. And then because of legislation that we managed to get passed in 2020, well, it was passed in 2015 and commenced in 2020. Because of that, our first 2 daughters were able to have my wife then recognised as their mother. However, we then had a son last year. He's only 1, baby Ali, and he only has me as his legal parent. He doesn't meet the criteria of current legislation. And while this bill should have included all families, it doesn't. It still doesn't include my family.
Yeah, we've had a statement in from the department saying that since last July, their Attorney General did recognise some issues that was causing the delay, but they hope to have movement on it before the end of the summer session in the Dáil. So that's something, I guess. But coming back to your family, I think it's quite unique. It's not unique in structure, which is why we're having this conversation. What
exactly,
I'm saying,
yeah.
but I mean, the genetic. You'd a sperm donor, obviously. The genetic material came from one of you, and the other one of you carried it, and that's what you did through your family. So both of you have that biological bond, which was important to you. But having the recognition, and I suppose people might say, well, you have your children, you should be happy, but there's huge, massive ramifications to this in terms if I know I've seen in one case where a parent sadly passed away and the other parent did not have any rights to the child they'd been raising since birth, and this is the stuff we're dealing with here.
Yeah, and it's real families and it's real people. And I suppose in my situation, currently I have twins, Ted and Elsie. They're 5 years old. I am not their legal parent. Their father is their legal parent. Something as simple as their first school trip came in the door to sign or consent. You have the same rights to my children as I have.
Isn't that awful?
It's unbelievable. And where this bill, when it is commenced, will cover, a lot of families like mine, there are other families that it won't cover, because one part of the bill, which is supposed to be coming in the amended bill, is that even this current bill means that if I want to get a parental order, I need my husband's permission. This is 2025 and I need my husband's permission. We have families who are in atrocious situations where their children are being used as a coercive control weapon against them, because if they leave, they have no rights whatsoever.
It's important to highlight this as well, I think, because whatever about anything else, having a child in the middle of a pawn situation, this is absolutely awful. So we are having the situation now. You mentioned domestic violence, coercive control. For example, if somebody has gone abroad to have their child through surrogacy, the surrogate gave birth to this child, came back here in home, the domestic abuse situation escalated. This woman, or man, depending on the situation,
exactly, yeah,
this person cannot actually get refuge or help or leave the abuser unless they give up rights to their children, any contact to their children. By rights, I mean any contact or access to their children.
The partner can hold that over them.
Which is hideous.
These are real families. You know, I just keep thinking the fact that, like, you know, it's... Jennifer Carroll McNeill is the Minister for Health. She's a female. I suppose being a female and all the issues that you have with women's rights and women's health and all that, you know, it is under resourced in lots of ways. And I suppose we had great hope for this and to be able to talk about situations like this where women need to be protected. Not just women by women who are the mothers or even the dads, the same-sex parent, second parent, but the surrogates as well, the wonderful women who carry our children for us. But mostly who need to be protected are the children. Because imagine a child living in that situation day in, day out. And all we've got really since is radio silence. We have constantly reached out.
It's challenging because with the previous government we did have engagement. While it was slow and tedious work, there was engagement. With this government we have had zero engagement. On our side, with Equality for Children, Irish Gay Dads and LGBT Ireland, on behalf of the LGBT Parenting Alliance, we have reached out formally 3 times and have had zero response. I know Irish families through surrogacy have done the same thing. We have had no formal engagement. And, you know, we heard last week in the Dáil, Minister Carroll McNeill responded to a question and said that she hoped to have amending legislation in by the summer and commence by the end of the year. We have not seen what that amending legislation looks like. And we know from the past that when the government refuses to engage with key stakeholders, they bring forward legislation that is not fit for purpose. So we crucially and urgently need to see what they are proposing. They need to engage with us and speak to us and ensure that every single family, regardless of whether they've had donor conception, surrogacy, every child deserves to be protected. My children are no less deserving of protection than Kathy's children, than any other child. And that is at the core of this. We need this urgently and we need it now. They need to engage with us.
I think it is really important to point out that, you know, it is, especially for the LGBT community, it's 10 years since marriage equality was voted in. And Ranae's family doesn't have equality, you know.
Yeah, I keep saying to everyone, you know, we voted 10 years ago. I can't believe it's been a decade, and what a wonderful 2015 it was when that happened. And my wife and I went into having our family at that time thinking that this is amazing. We have an equal marriage, we have an equal family, but we don't. My marriage is not equal. If a man and woman were in the same